roll call, which we normally don't do. If everyone could announce themselves as being present, and Hillary or Lynn, you're going to record this, aren't you? Lynn will record the people present. We'll start with John.
John Lubach, I'm present.
John Arnold, I'm present.
And Mary Tivey is present.
Okay, is Matt joining, I wonder? I thought he was.
He said that he would be a definite maybe.
Okay, we do have a quorum, so I will call the meeting to order with the those present. And we hope that the other two members will be able to join us. As I mentioned, we have some different protocols. Everyone, if they has had a chance to review them, if there's any questions about those protocols, please ask them. And when you want to speak, I think it might be an idea, rather than trying to figure out the order, if you'd raise your hand and I can acknowledge that you're the person wanting to speak for the audio record. Would that work, Hillary and Lynn? Would that be appropriate?
We could do that.
Yeah, okay. There's only the three of us at this point in time.
Yeah.
So anyways, so I'll ask if there are any disclosures of pecuniary interest, and a comment on that will be that in future, we've been asked to send any conflicts to the township in writing prior to the meeting. I am presuming, Lynn, that emails will be acceptable?
I have actually a form I can forward to all the committee members that you can fill out. I'll send it as a PDF. I think that's how I have it saved at. And I can also probably send it as Word. If you have a pecuniary interest at any future meetings, if you can just fill that out and send it on to Hillary prior to the meeting, we'll be able to record it in the minutes.
Thank you. And that's only if you have a pecuniary interest.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. The copies of the meeting of January the 20th were circulated. Are there any comments or errors or omissions that the board members would like to make to those minutes? John?
No, I have no comments.
Mary?
None.
And I, John Arnold, have none as well. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes, please.
I so move, Mary.
Mary Tivey, and seconded.
I will second John Lubach.
On the back. Thank you very much. There were quite a few things in that in those minutes. I'm not sure that they can't wait until the October 20th meeting, which hopefully will be a more regular meeting by then. Are there any items that anyone wishes to comment on those items that were raised on the 20th? Otherwise, we can we'll move on then. A lot of the regular business, Lynn has suggested that we defer until the October 6th meeting, the October 6th, 2020 meeting. Are there any items of regular business that the members wish to discuss at this point in time?
No.
And I want you to comment about some other things in just a minute.
Yeah,
Mary,
okay.
you're good?
I have a comment, Chair, and that is simply that I'm continuing to submit columns to the Puslinch Pioneer through approval of the township office. And I am also continuing to work on the properties for the municipal register and updating the accurate information.
Thank you, Mary. That's and your columns are appreciated. I, for one, certainly appreciate them. They're always a source of new and interesting information.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there's no other items, then I'd like to move on to other business. And I think, has everyone met Hillary? Hillary
No.
I haven't.
Is our new executive assistant. Hillary, the gentleman top left corner, is John Lubach. Below him, on my screen, Mary Tevy, and of course, you know Lynn, and we've met earlier today. We look forward to working with you.
Yeah.
And
Hi,
it's,
Hillary. Pleasure to meet you all.
Lynn, would you like to make some comments about COVID and any items that you think should be brought to the committee's attention?
Sure. First, let me add regarding Hillary, our new legislative assistant. We've been looking at the job descriptions and the responsibility everybody has, and we're trying to even out everybody's work. So Hillary is going to be taking over the Heritage Committee as your secretary, starting.
Yay.
I'm going to work with her on the October agenda and any other things she has, any questions. So Mary, when you do your articles, if you could copy Hillary on them also,
Certainly.
she will start reviewing them. We'll review the first few together and then she'll start reviewing them. Yeah, so that's great. She'll have a lot of time to really get up to speed before October so we can get a good agenda going and get everything caught up so we can start moving forward. As for the COVID, everyone from the township is still working from home. It's working out really well for us. We've had a few little hiccups and we've been able to smooth them out rather quickly. So that's really good. And also, as of this committee, all of our committees will now be up and running. This is our test committee to make sure everything runs smoothly. PDAC is going to be meeting on July 14th, and then Recreation Committee is going to be meeting, I believe, in August. Council continues to meet virtually. For now, we're going to keep doing our meetings virtually until we see what happens in the future. So yeah, that's pretty much my COVID update.
Thank
Does anyone have any questions I could answer or any clarification?
you, Lynn. John? Mary?
None.
Good.
Okay, thank you very much. Lynn, you had a demolition permit that you wish to discuss as well on Highway 6, 4162 Highway 6. Would you like to bring us up to date on that, please?
I sure can. So I spoke with the owner. It was for a demolition clearance form. He didn't want to fill it out because they're not ready yet. The property, I believe, is for sale or is going to be up for sale, and they're just wondering, because the property is on a heritage registry, what the process would be for any future owner if they wanted to demolish the dwelling that's on the property now and build a new dwelling. So Courtney's going to share her screen and she should be able to show you where the property is in just a moment. I did send them an email and let them know basically what it is, but it'll show you the location of the property and you might know a little bit more about the property. The address is 4162 Highway 6. So yeah, once Courtney pulls that up on her share screen, we can,
Wow. That's impressive stuff. Okay.
so that's the property. You can see up near the Highway 6, there is a dwelling there. I explained to the owner that they would have to fill out whoever purchased the property would have to fill out a demolition clearance form, would have to go to the Heritage Committee for comment. And possibly if it's within that 3-month time frame in between our meetings, that we may have to call a special meeting in order to provide comment on it. So I'm not sure what else you'd like to add to that.
Do you have a street view of that?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, like, is anybody actually familiar with the building in question here?
I certainly know where it is, but I'd never really, I hadn't taken a lot of notice of it. I mean, it's right across from that training track
Yeah.
highway there, but I'm coming down tomorrow. So actually I'm going to drive by and have a look.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know if at the very least it was, you know, it was a salvageable type of place. Obviously somebody's come to the decision that it may not be, but
I believe it's the old Weiner farm.
the old Weiner farm.
Mhm.
Have we seen that? I think we've seen that place, haven't we?
I think
Yeah.
so.
With
Oh,
the cabin at the front.
Yeah, with the cabin at the front, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one where they built a deck on the back, a fairly upgraded new kind of deck?
I couldn't tell you, but it's a It's an agricultural building composition with a barn, a pig barn, the 1831 cabin, and probably 1870s brick Ontario Gothic home.
Yeah, it's too bad Barb's not here because she would probably have some
Yeah.
totally
And
updated information about that place. But
well, we
yeah,
did visit it on a site visit,
yeah,
and yeah, has a milk house as well.
yeah, I remember that. We spent a lot of time talking about that milk house actually,
Yes.
as to whether there was any heritage worthiness in that. And
Mhm.
if I recall, we came to the conclusion that there actually was.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Well, one we should probably look at, but I don't know what kind of how relevant that would be at this point.
Sorry to interrupt. I do have a Google Street View if you'd like me to share that screen.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Sure.
Courtney or Lynn, can you repeat for me? The application for demolition is tentative, or remind me again?
I believe they're looking to sell the property, so they're wondering if a future owner wanted to tear down, demolish the building that's already on there and erect a new building, what the process would be. We don't have a clearance for a demolition clearance form yet. It's just for something in the future.
Well, the property isn't designated. I think that we'd need a further discussion around the property components.
Okay.
And yeah, certainly at the least we'd want to make sure we documented what is there now. Yeah.
Right. And like I said, if they do have a buyer in the future that wants to demolish the building, we can always call a special meeting to take a good hard look at the clearance application that they submit and have a good discussion on it.
Thank you, Mary. My agenda here. Oh yeah, at this point, I think it would be appropriate. John, you and I had a discussion, philosophical discussion, and you raised some extremely good points, which I think may have been circulated to other members of where we're going in this brave new world. And I wonder if you could just take a couple minutes to discuss those, because I think they're points worth thinking about. I'm not asking anybody to make any decision at all. It's just that John has raised some very, very good points that I'd like him to discuss.
Yeah, sure, John, no problem. I guess as this whole COVID thing has been developing, one thing that I'm noticing is that a lot of the remedies that started as kind of stopgap measures are kind of looking very, very permanent now. Like if you go into McDonald's type restaurant, for example, you see there are plexiglass things that are up there. Like those are really high tech, and they're not coming down. Even if there was a vaccine tomorrow and this thing was gone, I'm thinking that's going to stay. And then I gave the example of the universities and the online teaching and whatever. But anyway, I guess from a heritage standpoint, if we were meeting in our regular way today, we'd probably be going on a tour of some properties. We're obviously not doing that anytime soon for COVID reasons, but I'm wondering, will we ever be able to do that again? And if not, where does that leave the Heritage Committee as a relative functioning body? Because visiting properties and determining whether they're heritage worthy or not is really kind of what we do front and center. I don't know, I'm sure Mary's probably got a comment or two on this, but that was kind of the main point I was bringing up. Since I don't really see us walking into anybody's house like for a long time.
Mary, have you got some comments on that?
Well, I think it's difficult to be certain about how things are going to unfold on the one hand. And on the other, we already have a very large and rather intact inventory of heritage properties and landscapes in our township. And I think that this committee could invest energy into communicating that to our residents in various ways that may in fact prove to be through social media or other, electronic forms. So that visiting the properties, although we do that every year and we consider their heritage value, maybe one element of the work we do that could be delayed or at least scaled back. But on the other hand, I think it gives us an opportunity to further work on elements that that are still part of our mandate, which is educating, communicating, and assisting residents and property owners in understanding the value of the heritage structures and landscapes in the township.
Thank you, Mary. Good. I like your idea of learning to use social media to a greater extent to do exactly that, educate and inform our residents of what it's all about.
Mhm. And if I can just add to that, there's a property owner I've been in contact with who, as far as I know, has a property that has not yet come under our radar. And I think they would be comfortable with a visit from one of us. And I think perhaps a one-on-one with property owners and then sharing that information with committee might be a tangible way to proceed with some field studies.
That would be interesting, but the first thing I do is put that one to Lynn and say, can we do that? I mean, we're still a municipal function and there's rules and regulations. Can we do that, Lynn?
I'm not quite sure. I can speak with Mr. Schwindinger and see what his opinion is on it, see if that was something that would be permitted, and I can get back to everybody and let you know what his response is.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But
Thanks.
also to add to Mary's point, we were just kind of starting to get into cultural heritage landscapes in a much bigger way than we ever had before here. And those could still be pursued and visited without COVID concerns. I presume, since we're not actually entering anything, we're just basically walking down the street, so to speak. So that's part of it as well. Anyway, the visitation of properties was my main concern, and Mary's addressed that, so we'll take it from there.
My thinking, John's, is that I'm going to continue to sort of manually sort these properties as I've started doing. I realize that I really need to work with the files individually. And then by October, I think I'll have some critical mass from which I can then make suggestions about how we can proceed. And they'll be wide ranging. But I do have some ideas and I'll bring them forward then.
Thank you, Mary. That'd be
Okay.
great. Are there any other items for discussion at this point? Then if not, our next meeting is scheduled for October the 5th, 2020 at 1 p.m. If that meets with everyone's approval. That being said, I would call for adjournment. Can I have someone move and second that, please?
I'll move.
Mary Tivy moves, John Levac seconds.
Yep.
All in favor? John,
Favor. Yep.
Mary, and myself, yes. Thank you very much. I think this went quite well, Lynn.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good test, and